Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just doing a comparison of the Bose Sub 2s in and out of cardioid mode. I've been playing around with it now probably for about 3 days, and Bose claims that there's a 10 dB shift in sound in the rear. When you're in cardioid mode, they say that you're getting 10 less dB. That's a lot in the rear. And of course, it shows the cardioid pattern changing from the circular outward motion to more like the peach shape, where you have just the sound being forced towards the front of you and not as pronounced in the rear. And I played around with a dB tester. I tested in C weight and A weight just to see what the numbers looked like. I played around with pink noise as well as different frequencies to test the subs to see if there was any real noticeable differences from being in the front, being in the rear, in cardioid mode, and out of cardioid mode. And in cardioid mode, you just lose the punch. You lose sound, and that's probably fine if you're on stage. And I'm sure that with a tone match or an external mixer, you can dial in more sound as long as you can control your subs separately. It's just that I've been doing the test all on a flat line basis. All of my EQ settings are at 12 o'clock. Nothing is being increased to try to raise the sub level back up. I'm not trying to push it past a certain point. I'm just putting it in and out of cardioid mode so I can see if I can hear those differences, to see if I can meter those differences with a sound meter in the front and in the back. So without a meter, I can definitely hear the difference. The difference being that when you go into cardioid mode, the thump definitely drops. It goes down a lot, and is noticeable in the front as well as in the back. I'm not sure about other cardioid subs if that's what happens. Do you notice that noticeable difference in the front as well as in the back? And like I said, on Bose's forum or their website, they claim a negative 10 dB towards the rear. So like when I play certain frequencies like this or this, that's in cardioid mode. Now, the way that this is configured is the bottom sub has to be facing away from your audience, and the bottom sub has to be the one that's in cardioid mode. The top sub stays in its regular settings, and in the positive mode as far as the polarity is concerned. You hold this button here at the bottom where the cardioid mode is, You push and hold that until it switches to cardioid mode. That's how you know the bottom sub has been configured for cardioid mode. The volume should be the same on both speakers. You can either do full or both of mine are in full. Just so you know, like if you're using this with an L1 Pro 32, and if you're plugging your subs into your L1 Pro 32 with a tone match cable, your subs, of course, have to be on your line EQ set for L1. Because I'm not using an L1, mine is set for LPF. And they're both set for LPF, and they're both set in full because I'm not using an L1 Pro 32. So that leads me back to this other point too I want to make. If you notice the cable that I have there, that's a tone match cable. And I have the other end of that tone match cable installed in the top sub. So if you don't have an L1 Pro 32, you can still use that cable, but it will only supply power to your bottom sub from the top sub. The sound will not translate from one sub to the other, but it will give you power. So it's just one less power cable that you'll have to connect because these two subs are connected by the tone match cable. It's a little expensive to be able to say, well, now I'm not going to use 4 power cables if I have 4 subs. So in this case, I have 2 subs and they're only going to need 1 power cable. In some cases, you might need that. You don't want to, draw as much power by having 4 plugs plugged in, but just know that there's no sound transfer. And you can't daisy chain tone match cables, sub match cables, I'm sorry. So like if I had 4 sub 2s, I can't plug 1 sub 2 in with power and then daisy chain sub match cables from 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't work that way. They say you can only use 1 sub match cable per pair. So I would need 2 to power 4 subs and plug 2 subs in with their power cord. So it would be every other sub would basically get power. So 1 set, 1 cable, 2 sets, 2 cables. Basically that's it. And again, no sound unless you have an L1 Pro 32, which is kind of expensive just so you can cut back because these are like $110. Kind of expensive just so you don't have to power 2 subs. And you still have to connect your sound. So I have a XLR running from my player into the top and then out to the bottom. So in cardioid mode, there's definitely a loss in sound. And from what I can hear, it's a loss in sound in the front as well as the back. But that's with me, again, leaving everything at 0, not really going in and like boosting the bass and turning the subs up, because that loss of power in the back and the front, according to my ear, that sounds different, doesn't mean that, oh, now I can't turn it up, because nothing is peaking. So I may be able to actually turn it up louder and EQ with my tone match more punch to get it back up on the level that I'm hearing that's gone when I'm not in cardioid mode. So let me see if I can play it for you and switch from cardioid mode to the regular mode, where basically it's going to be a regular sound pattern. So let's see if you can hear it. This is cardioid mode. Now I'm going to take it out of cardioid mode. So there is definitely a fall off. They say up to 10 dB lower, but it's supposed to be coming from the rear. I think the entire room, whether I was standing up front when I used the meter or in the back, there was a definite fall off. Now, as far as if the fall off is just in the rear, I honestly think it's in the front as well as the rear. That could just be me. When I tested with the dB meter, yes, there was probably about a 6 to 7 dB difference in the rear versus the front. So numbers don't lie. I'm just telling you what I heard with my ear, but the numbers don't lie. So if that dB is no longer present in the rear, but it's still higher in the front, then mission accomplished. You can play these in cardioid mode if you're in a position, or like if you have them up on stage, or if they're just so close to you as you're DJing that the sub power is just, you're pushing it and the bass is just too much hitting you, then you may want to consider setting up in cardioid mode. And then just with your external mixer, if you have your subs on a separate line, on a different line than your tops, if you're using L1 Pro 16s, and I use the Bose T4S, my subs are separate. So I could technically put them out in front of me, and put my 16s off to the side like I usually do, and put them in cardioid mode. So in cardioid mode, this is another thing. They have to be in stacks of 2, like you see here. You can't stack 2 more on top and have one tall stack of 4. It's something that when I spoke with a Bose rep, they said you can have as many stacks as you want, but they have to be in this configuration. They can be side by side. And you can, daisy chain them. So if you're going to daisy chain them, you have your line going into one and then out to whichever one is being cardioid. I'm not exactly sure if when you do that, do you come out of the cardioid sub and go into the next cardioid sub and then up to the sub that's not in cardioid mode. I'm not exactly sure how that would work. The signal should be the same no matter what. It's just a sound signal going into one. So the ins and outs should work out to be the same. I'm gonna look into that and find out for you guys. But can they be used in cardioid mode and work? Yes. What I saw was a 6 to 7 dB difference in the rear when I had it in cardioid mode. It was louder in the front. That's what you want. I believe that if you're playing and you find the right settings, if you're using an external mixer or the Bose T4S or the T8S, you can probably push these and dial them up a little bit more to get more hit and not get beat in the back with all of the bass. As a DJ, personally, because I don't use them on stage anywhere like that, I haven't had them on stage with me. They're always strategically placed out on the floor somewhere. The bass doesn't bother me. So I don't use cardioid mode. I haven't had a reason to. I like the fullness of having all 4 of my subs wide open, no cardioid mode. But I figured you guys might want to see this so you can at least have an idea. Some of you guys may only have one, some guys may have two, some have four like I do, and you've played around with it. I have been beating it up for 2 days. So I'm gonna put this footage together for you guys and I'm gonna post it. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments. As always, I appreciate you guys for checking me out. I'm constantly trying to find other ways to use these subs. I honestly wish that the Submatch cable provided sound without an L1 Pro 32, and that they could power all 4 of my subs. Then I would only have to plug in one sub, and that one sub would send power to all 4 of mine. That would be amazing, especially if it could deliver the sound as well as power to all 4 of my subs, and I only have to plug one sound cable into the one sub and one power cable into the one sub. Then those sub cables, those Submatch cables could do the rest. That would be amazing. Bose, that would be amazing. I understand that 4 of them need a lot of power. Transferring the sound shouldn't be much of an issue, but it is what it is. So once again, guys, thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.